Hey kiddos, today we're going to be talking about fractions and whole numbers, and it's a little bit harder than what we're used to. So it's really, really important that you pay attention. And if you don't understand this concept after I'm done with my PowerPoint and after you watch Mrs. Protzman's video on fractions and whole numbers, that you practice this PowerPoint again. It does you absolutely no good to rush through these videos and to not understand these concepts, because they will show up on your test and they will show up on our air test too. So it's important we really understand these concepts. I need you to get out a piece of paper and a pencil or a whiteboard and a marker, and I need you to follow along with me as we do this PowerPoint together. So first of all, let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be learning about today. First of all, whole pieces are fractions. Some kids have a really hard time understanding that. So if I have this piece of paper here, it actually is a fraction. So let me make this bigger. I have a whole piece of paper here, but I could turn this into a fraction. If I would take this one whole thing and I split it in half, well, I took that one whole thing and now I have two pieces or two halves. Or if I took this piece of paper and I folded it again, it is still a whole piece of paper when I unfold it. The only difference is now that I have four sections or fourths. So fractions can be whole numbers, and that for kids can be super hard to understand. So today, I want you to understand that if I eat this whole thing, if this is a whole brownie, well, I am eating fractions because I ate the whole thing, but it was split into four pieces. So I ate 4/4 of the brownie, but it's the whole thing. So today, though, we may have more than one brownie. I may have two brownies or three brownies, and I cut them into parts, therefore they're fractions. So what you need to understand is that if I take a whole thing and I cut them up into parts, they are still a fraction, and they are still a whole number. All right, kiddos, let me put myself down to the corner and we'll keep going. So we can split up anything like we talked about before. I can split up a cookie, a waffle, celery sticks. I mean, name it, and I can probably split it up into anything. I can split pizzas and cookies and pies and cakes. That's still a whole cake. If I bake a whole cake and I pull it out of the oven and I cut it into pieces, it's still a whole cake unless I eat the pieces. That's where it's different. So if we eat the whole thing, it is still a fraction. If I cut it up into pieces, it's still a whole number if I eat the whole thing. So today our lesson specifically is about fractions greater than 1. Well, what does that mean? It's going to mean that our numerator is greater than our denominator. You've been learning that the numerator is the top number of a fraction. The numerator is what we eat. The denominator of a fraction, or the bottom of a fraction, is the total number of parts. So the numerator is what you eat, and the denominator is the total number of parts. So the denominator here will never change. If it is cut into thirds, the denominator is thirds, thirds, thirds. If it is cut into 8 pieces, then that denominator is 8, 8, 8. That denominator will never, ever, ever change. And that's where some kids mess up on these, because they want to change their denominator. You need to figure out the number of parts that it's cut into, and that denominator will never, ever change. The numerator on most cases today will be the larger number. That numerator will be bigger than the denominator. So, for example, what is this cut into? On your boards, can you please write the fraction that it is cut into? All right, so what did you write? Remember, the top number of a fraction is what we eat. It's the shaded parts. The bottom of a fraction is the denominator, the total number of parts. Well, what is the fraction? The fraction you should have written is 5/5. Why is it 5/5? Well, the top number is what you eat. I ate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I ate 5 of those pieces. Well, why is the bottom number also 5? Because it's cut into 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Therefore, I have written a fraction of 5/5 is what I ate. I ate the entire cookie. So I actually ate one whole cookie, or 5/5 of the cookie. But what if this? What if I had two of these? What would the fraction be then? So on your board, I would like you to set up your fraction. Let me grab a whiteboard here. When we do these problems, it really, really helps to set them up first. And it's going to be the same with your paper for a grade. So I'm going to set my board up like this. And every time I'm just going to have it up. I made a fraction line. If you're asked to draw a fraction, you have to have a fraction bar. And then I ET it. Well, why do I ET it? I ET it because E means eat. If I remember to put an E there, I'm going to remember, okay, that E always means eat. What pieces did I eat? The bottom is your total. Now, your total is how many pieces is it cut into every single time. Remember, the denominator never changes. So I have to figure out how many pieces was that cut into. That'll make more sense, but please have your board set up like this. All right, so let's talk about the problem I've set up for you. Look at that problem. If I look at that problem, the first thing I'm going to do is, how many did I eat? Well, let's see. I ate all of the shaded parts. I ate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I ate 10. So on your board, on the parts that I eat, write 10. Now, this is where kids get confused. They want to put that the total is also 10. Well, that's not correct. The total is what the first shape is cut into. That first shape is cut into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second shape is cut into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice my denominator did not change. It was 5 here and 5 here. So on my board, I would write that my denominator is 5. It is what my shape is cut into, 10/5. Now, how can you check if you're right? You can use division to check if you're right. What is 10 divided by 5? Well, 10 divided by 5 is 2. Now, why is that important? Well, let's look here. How many whole cookies do I have? I have 2 whole cookies. So if I can't divide this out correctly, it is not the correct fraction. So my correct answer to my fraction is going to be 10/5. 10/5. All right, kiddos, and it is cutting it off on the video a little bit, so I'll make sure to show you the answers on my board. But what if I have this then? That changes what fraction that I have. So erase your board. You can just keep your line for ET. So how many did I eat? Well, that is the shaded parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I ate 15 of those parts. So I am going to write that it is 15. But remember, my denominator doesn't change. It's always what that first shape is cut into. So what is my first shape cut into? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That first shape is cut into 5 pieces. That is my total. Well, how do I check myself? 15 divided by 5. What is 15 divided by 5? Well, I can count by 5s to get to 15. 5, 10, 15. It equals 3. Well, again, why is that important? Because I have 3 whole cookies. 1, 2, 3. That is how you check yourself. The answer to this one is 15/5. All right, let's do another one. First, remember that the denominator will never change. What is that denominator cut into? If it's cut into thirds, that is your denominator. If it's cut into halves, that is your denominator. So let's go ahead and practice. So what is this fraction? Erase your boards and reset up. First of all, how much of this did I eat? I ate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So on my board, I will write that I ate 6 of the pieces. Because remember, it is what is shaded in. I ate 6 of those pieces. Now, my denominator will never ever change. Well, what does that mean? Let's look at our denominator. This is cut into 2. This is cut into 2. And this is cut into 2. My denominator does not change. Therefore, my denominator must be 2 because they were cut into 2 pieces. Now, how do I check myself? I use my division. What is 6 divided by 2? I can count by 2s to 6. 2, 4, 6. I got an answer of 3. Well, again, why is that answer of 3 important? Because I have 3 whole cookies. So the correct answer there should be 6 halves. 6 halves. All right, I'll guide you through a couple more, and then I want you to see if you can get it without me helping you. So, what fraction would this be? Let's make our board say E-T. How much did I eat of this fraction? I count the shaded parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I ate 6 pieces of that fraction. So I ate 6 parts. Now I must remember that my denominator will never ever change. So let's look. This is cut into 1, 2, 3. This is cut into 1, 2, 3. So my denominator then is going to be 3, 6 thirds. So what do I do to check myself? I use division. What is 6 divided by 3? 6 divided by 3 is 2. Well, do I have 2 whole pictures? 1, 2. So I know that my correct answer is 6 thirds. All right, kiddos, what about this one? ET it. How many do I eat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I will write that I will eat 8 pieces of that shapes. But what is my total? My denominator will not change. It is what it is cut into. So let's look. What is our first shape cut into? 1, 2, 3, 4. What is this cut into? 1, 2, 3, 4. Because my denominator will not change, they are both cut into 4 pieces. I will write that there is a 4. 8 fourths. Now how do I check myself? I use division. What is 8 divided by 4? 8 divided by 4 is 2. Well, do I have 2 pictures here? 1, 2. So my correct answer then is going to be 8 fourths. 8 fourths. All right, let's see if you can do these on your own. Now, if you are struggling through this video, watch it again and try to figure out why you are missing the problems. So what fraction is this? It is 20/5. 20/5. All right, what about this one? What fraction is this? The top is what we eat. So how many are there? What are you going to eat? The bottom is what it's cut into. How many parts is this cut into? So how many did you eat? What is this cut into? Well, you ate 24 eighths. 24 eighths. All right, kiddos, let's do another one. What fraction is this? How much did you eat? You ate 4. What is it cut into? This is cut into 2. This is cut into 2. So it is 4 halves. 4 halves. What about this one? What fraction is this? What did you eat? What was it cut into? The answer is 4 fourths. 4 fourths. All right, kiddos, what is this? How much did you eat? Count the pieces. The bottom of your fraction, what is this cut into? Well, I ate 15. In this first picture, it was cut into 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's 15 thirds. 15 thirds. All right, what's this fraction? How much did you eat? What did you cut it into? Your answer is 8 eighths. 8 eighths. All right, kiddos, what about this one? How much did you eat? What was it cut into? You ate 8 halves. There's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That is why it is halves. What about this one? What did you eat? What was it cut into? Well, you ate 12 and it was cut into fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What about this one, kiddos? What did you eat? What was it cut into? You ate 16. It's cut into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What about this one? What did you eat? What is it cut into? Well, you ate 3 out of 3. 3 thirds. All right, kiddos, again, if you do not understand after watching this video and also watching Mrs. Protzman's video, please watch this video again. Do not just guess because you want to get your work done. This is a very important concept that you understand this lesson. All right, kiddos, have a great day, and we'll talk to you very soon.